Hello and welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time listening to us. This is episode 31. Today, we're going to talk about marketing goals to serve business goals. So, Veronica, hello, and why don't you tell
Hello.
us how to approach this marketing goals to serve business goals? What say you?
Well, it's a topic that I'm always bringing it up because people are confusing those two.
Hmm.
And marketing goals need to serve the business goals. Maybe we can start by defining what they stand for. And before we start recording, actually, we had a chat about it, and we realized we do the same, but we do use different language for it. So I'm pretty sure we'll not be the only ones. But why I love so I'm realizing I'm all over the place here, and I'm trying to start from somewhere. As you all know, I have my own methodology when it comes to marketing strategy. And one of the steps of the marketing strategy is actually setting up goals. And I always give this as an example. If you don't know where you're going, you don't know how to prepare for it. Let's say you go to the seaside, you go on holiday, but it's differently how you prepare if you go to the mountains or if you go to the seaside, right? You're going to get your flip-flops or you get your hiking boots, right? You're going to put the sunscreens in both of them and some essentials, but there are a couple of things that are different. And it's the same in terms of marketing, because of course, you have some things that are consistent, doesn't matter what you're doing, but some tactics, some actions that you need to take differently depending on what you want to achieve. And every single time when I'm asking my clients or anyone for that matter, especially at the beginning of the business, what do you want in terms of marketing? Guess what they will say? They will
Yeah,
say,
they all say new business or new
more
clients, new
clients.
customers,
Exactly.
always. Yeah.
And then you ask them, like, what does that mean? Because that is so relative, right? More
Mm-hmm.
clients can be one more or can be
Right.
100 more,
Mission
right?
accomplished. Yeah, exactly.
And then you need to sit down and see and look basically at your entire business and see what's your capacity, how many new clients can you serve, and still provide a good service. How does that fit with everything? Do you need to create different processes to implement it? Are you a one-man show, several people, or it becomes much more complex? And once that you do that, you can do reverse engineering and identify what do you need to do in order to actually get those new clients, identify the actions, the tactics, partners, so on and so forward.
So can you give an example from either from your business or any client that you've worked with, like just an example of like, yeah, how you would approach this. So maybe it's starting with a business goal and how you worked backwards to create the marketing goal or something like that, just to give
For
I
example,
understand the analogy about going to the beach or the mountain, but trying to think also I'm just curious if you approach it the way I do or not or different. So I'm just interested if you have any
I'm going to
examples.
show a concrete example of what is happening at this point with our business, and I'm very curious how you do it,
Okay.
how you see it. And I have a feeling we are kind of doing similar things, but we name them differently. For example, we are in process of launching a marketing accelerator that is actually a business goal. But so for that, we do need to create a product, basically, that will going to go under the marketing product because we create that one. But we also have for marketing, we need to promote that one and we need to get a new database of people interested in it and get new clients there, right? So you split it. The big goal, the business goal is actually launch a new service. However, the marketing goal will be to get enough interest. Sell it.
So to create, okay, and then building the actual framework or the tool or whatever it is. So that is also included in it, or does that come after? So yeah, so
That
I'm
will
just
be more under the business goals.
okay. So are you approaching it like you have this idea to build the accelerator,
Mhm.
period, or like you have the idea to build it and now promote it? Or is it like we have this idea, let's see if there's an appetite for it and let's start
We
kind of
already saw that
marketing.
actually in the
So you've
previous
already
years.
so
So
we've done
that,
that. So now you
yes.
know that this is what we're going to do. So now we have to build the thing and also create interest for the thing, like
Correct.
market the thing. So you've got the two kind of actions
Parallel.
associated.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. And so that's all right. So I see how you think of that as like the marketing goals to then achieve the business goal. That's a good one. And that's exciting of the accelerator too. So
It
I don't know
is.
if you have a date or know when that'll be coming out, but or if there's a
Well,
link
we need
for
a
it for
couple of
people
more
to,
episodes and then we're
yeah,
gonna launch
or
it.
even a link for people to sign up for a wait list if they're interested in getting details when it does come out. So
We
maybe
are
we
in
could,
process of creating that.
yeah,
Will be launching the next weeks. So actually, by the time this episode will be out, we'll be able
correct.
to have
That's
it.
why I said it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
Listeners,
if you're
ignore this.
interested,
This is
yeah.
real life.
Yes. So if you're interested, check the link in the show notes so you can be on the list when the marketing accelerator opens. Okay, so what else? Marketing goals and business goals.
Actually, I'm curious before we move forward to how do you approach it? Do you have the same or do you?
So I think yeah, so an example I have is let me think, I've got a few. So one that I have also mentioned, I think I've mentioned it a couple times in previous episodes, is after a basically 10-year hiatus from public speaking, I would like to, yeah, put my feet back on the stage and kind of, yeah, reactivate that hopeful muscle memory to start speaking again. So that's I would say the business goal is to begin speaking again. So in order to do that, then I need to, the way I'm thinking of it, so I would say the framework you're saying, the marketing goal. So I need to produce and promote and present and practice and present and promote and just repeat these things so that I get really comfortable presenting the type of content that I want to present in that interaction with the audience, so I can, hone in on the areas that are working and improve. So that's one of the specific examples of something. Another, I guess, maybe an offshoot. I don't know if it's exactly a parallel, but definitely related to that, or a specific example of how I'm doing that. So, of course, podcasting helps, right? It's one of the reasons that I wanted to do this podcast. Another thing I'm doing is facilitating workshops, presently only online, but looking some potential situations to present them offline as well. So I can have that kind of face-to-face interaction, but
That's very
presenting
important.
workshops. So I've got those going in and around stakeholders. So I've got let's see, March and April is the workshops on building strategic partnerships. So May we'll start off doing about community on and offline to increase your brand visibility, etc. So doing these workshops will help. So that's an example from me and my specific business and how I'm approaching this.
I like that. And actually, the marketeer in me, if you will be my client, will be okay. I would add thought leadership to that. That's more like branding to place you. So that makes sense for you to be invited as a speaker to different events. And what I didn't give in my example, you need to start putting numbers. How many workshops online? How many workshops offline? How many presentations? How many posts? So to start translating it into, I think you're gonna call them KPIs. I call them
Yes.
like not
Yeah, it's either a KPI or OKR depending on
whoever
situation. Yeah.
you're talking with.
Yeah.
Talking with smaller businesses, I learned this better. Just let's put a number to it so we know what we need to achieve. And what I do, how that works for me, is actually start splitting it in smaller pieces. So for you, in order to do that workshops, for example, that you do online, to do them offline, what do you need to do? Probably you need to approach different organizations, introducing your workshop and ask them, are you interested in my workshop? Can I provide it either free or paid, depending on what you want? So you need to see how many organizations do I need to approach that will be willing to have a chat with me, and they will actually open the doors for me to host that one. So this is how it works. And then we start translating. So this will be the tactics and actions. And you need to see how many, You start identifying the organizations, and then you start coming up with a plan. How do I approach them? Do I write them first? Do I call them? Who do I know in that particular organization, or who do I know that knows someone there, so we can enter? So for me, goals are very important in identifying the work that needs to be done, because otherwise we are so distracted by every single shiny technology or activity or whatever is happening, and we do want to do everything, and it's impossible. Like we had last episode about productivity, right? It's so easy to go into that rabbit hole and to want to do everything, but we have just a limited amount of time for us to do it. So for me, goals are important because, first of all, they will help us work towards, they will identify what is important for us and work to get that in terms of business, but also in terms of business, but also identify what our approach will be, what do we need to focus, and also identify what we need to park or say no to, or maybe add something new that is coming to our planning.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking about whether or not I would share another example that I have. So I decided, well, I guess now that I open my mouth, may as
You
well
have to
spill the beans, as they say. Yeah, so I am also, we've chatted a little bit about this. I've been in the process of planning a new podcast that I'll be launching. I'll be launching when, yeah, TBD on that. Stay tuned. Launching, but so that's the objective. That's the business goal, is to launch this podcast. And there are some concrete reasons for doing so that have business connection. But just for the sake of this conversation, so that's the objective. So now where we're at is like I said, with the planning side of it, which relates to the marketing goals, is looking at who the target is, what's the source of kind of leads or guests for this, like who do we want on the podcast, etc., and what is the entire process of identifying, picking out who we'd like to interview, and then how to reach out to them. What does that look like? What is that process? And managing it from the experience of, it's like really 3 different lenses. So one lens is the guest and what is their experience and what's the value provided to them. Second would be for a listener. So this podcast is going to be about telling the stories of certified B Corps through the lens of the business owners and why they made the decision to do this. So therefore,
I love the topic.
Thank you. The lens for the audience would be for the content to feel, yeah, I want them to have a good experience and to feel like it was interesting and helpful, and giving them some concrete examples and why this might apply to their own business, right? So I'm thinking about it through the lens. So there's a whole kind of process in place for the listener. And then third, for myself and for my business, what are the things that need to happen, the measurables, and how to, yeah, just manage the entire process all the way through. So the planning, the pre and post production, etc. So it's a big one. Been working on this for several months, and it's finally on the brink of being introduced. So anyways, that's a big
So maybe we'll be able
business
to
and marketing
insert the
goal.
link to the podcast.
Yeah, perhaps. Perhaps. It's close. I just have to make a final decision on the name of it, which is sometimes,
That's the
gosh,
hardest.
it's a hard part. And
Yeah.
yeah, so if I could get that done in time, then the link will be there.
If not, for the next one, but to our listeners, don't worry, we're going to make sure we have the link, and I'm looking forward to listening to that one.
Thank you.
But that's another great example, actually. If you do that, that fits. Sorry, we do have a chameleon here, my dog. That will be a great example to fit it with your business, like how this marketing action, this activity, fits with your overall business goal that is actually working. I think, I don't remember the number of the episode, of course, you're good with that. When we discussed the audit of our businesses and you are switching more to B Corps and you're
Oh,
serving more.
so when we talked about the collaboration, the live collaborations, is that what you're
Yes,
referring to?
exactly.
Sure. So we did yours on episode 11 and mine was episode 13.
Oh my gosh, you're so good at these things.
I know, just numbers.
Yeah, my brain can't remember those things, but I can remember a lot of stories.
Yeah.
So that's a great example how you are working towards your business goal and what you're doing in terms of product, but also marketing. This is a great marketing tool to get there, actually. That's a great example. Thank you for sharing.
Yes, yes.
What else can we add here? Because it's quite straightforward for this episode is you do need these marketing goals and these marketing goals need to be in line with your business goals. So marketing is serving the business, however, is not replacing the business goals because business goals involves like services, implementation, the management of your people, collaborations, and some of them go under R&D. Some of them are actually going under the marketing umbrella, but not all of them. And this way it's important to make a differentiation because otherwise you'll be lost in different things and you don't understand, especially if you're externalizing. You need to be aware of what to expect and what to ask from the people you are working with. Otherwise it can be an imbalance in terms of what you're asking and what you're receiving.
Yeah, I think that's true. All right. Any last minute thoughts or anything that we missed, or are we good to put a fork in this one?
I think we're good with this one.
Okay.
Of course, we do need to remind our listeners of our surprise.
Yes, I know. So after several episodes, we talked about how much we both love collaborating and interacting with people, and also how much we'd love to have a chance to get to know some of our listeners. So we decided to offer some collaboration, like brainstorming sessions. So those will be happening in the months of April and May of this year, 2024. So if you're interested in applying for that, check out the link in the show notes. And we're going to try to accommodate as many as we can to do live session with us, similar to episodes 11 and 13, where we did this for each other. So have a look if you're interested.
And pick our brains up.
Yes. Pick them up. Hopefully not pick them up.
No, I'm sorry.
Although sometimes I feel like mine does need to be picked up, but anyhow.
You know what I mean.
Thanks for listening. Yeah, I got
Thank you for listening.
So, until next time.
Till next time.